Good morning everyone. Rakhi Purnami for all of you. So today we are getting successfully into episode 6, covering a completely different psychological condition related to personality. So personality or the nature is something that each one of us have. Each person is different, so the personality or the nature of the person is what we generally look at as personality. So if you have to look at a scientific way of looking what is a personality, it is the totality of a person's emotional as well as behavior tendencies that are usually predictable under ordinary conditions, and usually they are stable. This is what the personality of each one of us. That helps us to kind of make changes, adopt, flexible according to the situations or our goals. The personality disorders as a psychological condition that we are going to cover is slightly different from this personality. As the name personality says, it is the nature of the person. But these are a set of disorders that are from the personality, but they are disorders. We call them personality disorders. With regard to the different types of personality disorders, we look at it a little later, but let us look at how this personality disorder is different from the usual nature of the person. Here, the same behaviors and the emotional tendencies of a person or person with a personality are usually flexible and adaptable, like I said, but here in personality disordered persons, they are usually inflexible and non-adaptable in a wide variety of situations, especially posing difficulties for them as well as the family members living with them, especially in social and career areas. So this is where the personality disorder is different from a personality. So they are inflexible, non-adaptable, and the important aspect is that they are unwilling to change. Why they are unwilling to change, we look at again a little later once we understand a little bit about the characteristics of these people with personality disorders. So why are these people so inflexible and not adjustable, not adaptable to the situations? The main reason being their use of the defense mechanisms. So there are a set of mechanisms, defenses, that help them to handle their anxieties, to handle their unconscious motives. So we have to look at slightly different when we say personality. According to one particular theory, psychoanalytic theory given by Sigmund Freud, the personality is having three components: conscious, subconscious and unconscious. So we are not getting into the details of this because that becomes completely a different topic altogether, but we will touch upon only the unconscious aspect of one's personality. Unconscious motives or wishes or unconscious component of one's personality is mostly hidden, and people are usually unaware of these tendencies that are springing from this unconsciousness. So what happens in persons with personality disorder is that these unconscious anxieties, the unconscious wishes that they have, are being taken care by the defenses that they maintain when they are going through their normal day-to-day life, as well as more so when they are under extreme stressful situations. So I'll also cover a little bit on the kind of defenses people with personality disorder use later, but for me, to make it a little more plain and clear, is that normal personality differs from the persons with personality disorder, where they use this defenses as a way of building blocks of their personality to handle their anxieties, unconscious wishes. So I think that is a little bit uh, clear now, hopefully. And usually these people will refuse having a problem. So that is another challenge for the treatment part. That's because, as I said, it's an unconscious motive. One is not consciously aware of these anxieties and motives, and hence they don't see a need to change. But at a later point of time, when they are into life events like career and marital relationships, that's when a lot of adjustment issues crop up, and then they start becoming a little more and more distressed. But initially, all these tendencies are usually seen in childhood and early adolescence. So looking briefly about what makes them different from the rest of the people, let's look at a little bit on the factors or the causes of these personality disorders. So vulnerability or family factors holds a major part of weightage. Close family member, especially the parents having any psychological problems like depression or anxiety, the vulnerability is very high for the relevant personality disorders. So there is a condition called anxious avoidant personality, where is observed to be with family backgrounds of parents or close family members having an anxiety spectrum conditions, like we have discussed in the previous episodes. So family vulnerability factor is one of the strongest factor reason behind the personality disorders. The second important factor is the family environment. So where the family environment is generally where it is a little hostile, the emotions are not expressed openly, and generally in alcoholic families where a lot of disorganized functioning that happens, these kind of family physical environment where the children has to handle extreme stress, and mostly the handling ends up being a kind of maladaptive, not a healthy way of adjustment, ends up into more of a personality trait. So the physical environment of the family plays a very important role, and the family factors, other family and child rearing practices, like I said, even though there is a family vulnerability, if there is a person with some psychological condition, the characters of lack of trust, or overprotected children or neglected children, these kind of family rearing practices can also be the predisposing factors for these wide variety of personality disorders. So this is in brief about the different possible factors or causes of personality disorder. Now let's look at into the different kinds of or the types of these personality disorders. For the sake of understanding, there are various classifications done scientifically, but we will look at it a simplified version, where they are basically divided into three clusters: personality A, B and C. So a wide variety of conditions are put under each cluster. Cluster A mainly includes the kind of personality disorders where usually they are odd, eccentric in their way of behaviors, not very sociable, and then for them trusting people unless until it is like an uncritical acceptance from the social situations, usually they are usually not very comfortable in situations, especially the social situations. Lack of trust is something that bothers them, and usually under this kind of cluster there are conditions like paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder. So where a set of people having issues with the behavior, and then socially a little aloof and eccentric kind of behaviors, that is cluster A. In cluster B, generally these cluster B people are a little bit on the acting out histrionic, borderline conditions, narcissistic, over self-love, these kind of obsessive compulsive, where they are very meticulous and very orderly kind of people. So generally their emotions are all over the place, and it's very difficult for them to have that impulse control, and a little bit on more of a dramatic, and then they are highly emotional in their way of expressions, and most of them are non-adaptable with significant disturbance in the family environment. This is the cluster B, more of a dramatic and histrionic and narcissistic kind of cluster. Coming to the third kind of cluster is mainly anxious and the fearful kind of personality conditions. They usually are mainly a dependent kind of persons. They avoid the social situations. We call them anxious avoidant, and then usually they are passive aggressive, and usually they are of easily fearful and anxious kind of people. So these are the very briefly about cluster A, B and C. We are not getting into any of the personality disorders. Put together there are around 8 to 9 personality disorders. I'll try to cover one personality disorder under each condition a little later, once we discuss with the major characteristics of most of these personality disordered people. Okay, so looking at the characteristics or the kind of signs and symptoms, we can't say signs and symptoms because it is not restricted to a particular period. They are actually of that nature. Their usual personality is built on these characteristics. So like we have discussed in the beginning, they are usually inflexible and non-adaptable in a wide variety of situations, which poses problems for them in adjustment. So generally their way of perceiving things or their way of handling things is non-adjusting and non-adaptable in comparison to the people who are able to adjust better. So generally their behaviors are long-standing, and like I said, generally early childhood and pre-adolescent is the age where these tendencies starts expressing, but however they start feeling distress about them when they start having adjustment issues later in their life, when they have issues with the social or legal system like in antisocial personalities, and relationship issues like in histrionic and borderline personalities. That's when they actually start feeling more distressed, and most of these are posing issues or problems in the career as well as personal relations. These are in general about the characteristics of the borderline of the personality disorder patients. So I will try to cover one condition, like I said, under each cluster, so that you have an understanding. Even though they look like the personality, normal personality, but they are different from the adaptable and the normal kind of persons who are able to sail through their day-to-day life events without much distress. So under cluster E, I would like to cover a condition called paranoid personality disorder. So most of us use this paranoid as a very common way of expressing when someone is suspicious. So yes, these people are the suspicious people. Usually the suspicion is very long standing and mistrust. They cannot trust people easily unless until, like I said, they are accepted without any pointing out or criticism. So usually they refuse the responsibility for their feelings, and then they usually blame the others, saying that I am sad because of you. This kind of expressions, because of you I am sad, because of you I am in this terrible situation. So usually they don't acknowledge or take the responsibility for their feelings. Generally very irritable and hostile, and it is most prevalent in men. So this is about paranoid personality disorder from cluster A. Coming to the cluster B, I would like to cover a very interesting personality disorder called borderline personality disorder, which is very predominant in women population. So here borderlines are usually they're very moody, emotionally very labile, and their mood fluctuate from happiness to sadness to crying to anger, overflowing, and they're usually high on mood swings with a very unpredictable behavior. Their way of expressing their anxiety and distress is a little different from the other personality disorders. They usually end up in wrist slashing kind of behaviors, harming themselves, but it is more an expression of their way of trying to express their anxiety and depression to the immediate family or the outside world. So generally they categorize the people into good people and bad people, black and white kind of way of looking at the situations is usually seen in these kind of borderline personality disorder. They are highly impulsive, dramatic, and then they categorize people. This is mainly seen in borderline cluster B kind of personalities. So coming to the cluster C, mainly we look at avoidant personality disorder. Under each cluster there are a set of personality disorders. Because of the time restraint, I am only covering one personality disorder. So you can always get the information if you feel you want to have more details about it over the net. So cluster C, avoidant personality, like the name says avoidant, they avoid the social situations or they avoid stressful situations. They are not the risk-taking kind of people. So generally they are highly sensitive to rejection, and unless they are being accepted without pointing out, they are usually not comfortable, and then generally they have the inferiority feelings, fear of public speaking, and they usually are not people having some close friends. So they usually keep away from having close friends. This is about one condition under each cluster. So little bit to understand, like I said, the personality of this kind of people with personality disorders have main mechanism of using defenses. We all use defenses, but then their entire personality of these people is dependent on the defense mechanism. So it's important for us to understand some of the important defenses that are seen in these kind of people. So I would like to cover some important kind of defenses. Before that, let us see what do you understand by these defense mechanisms. They are also called protective mechanisms. So mainly we all use the defenses when there is a threat, when there is an anxiety, when there is something that is not comfortable for us to accept about ourselves, we all use defenses of projecting on someone or displacing onto it something else, or trying to hide our feelings which we don't want the others to know about, especially feelings related to guilt, feelings related to not trusting, feelings related to kind of that actually makes you feel uncomfortable, and that actually makes you feel depressed and anxious. So these are the protective mechanisms which mainly helps one to resolve their anxieties or unconscious motives by using these defense mechanisms. The reason why these personality disordered people are less motivated for treatment is mainly when you are working with them, one has to work through these defenses. So when you are taking away the defenses, they are worried about exposing their anxieties, and hence they are not very keen on let others know about the kind of defenses that they use. So that's the reason why they don't want to get the treatment, or unless until it's really posing an adjustment or extreme difficulty, they are usually people with very less motivation for counseling. So they are very reluctant. So once they stop using these defenses, their anxiety feelings or depressed feelings surface, and then they make them very uncomfortable, making them difficult to handle these negative feelings. That's what makes them hold on to these defenses very dearly. So let's look at very briefly about some important defenses, and then quickly move on to the management. So looking at a couple of defenses that they use. Fantasy. So fantasy, again, our idea of fantasy is different from the fantasy that we are looking at as a defense mechanism. People who are generally lonely and aloof and eccentric, where they are unable to able to mingle themselves with social situations, develop their own fantasy life as if they are the persons who are able to achieve things like they are the hero of their fantasies. In a way, we generally call it daydreaming. It's not the dreaming per se, but the daydreaming, where they feel that whatever those wishes that they have, they are able to achieve in their daydreams, not in reality. So that is about fantasy. And denial or disassociation, here generally the unpleasant feelings are hidden by expressing them as pleasant, especially the adolescent group who try to show the reluctance and try to risk themselves towards danger, are mainly trying to cover up their anxiety feelings, because they are looking at it as a need that someone should appreciate them. In spite of that, they are not very comfortable doing these kind of feats. The risk taking or drug addictions are coming out of this kind of defense of disassociation or denial. Isolation is again where they kind of very orderly and controlled kind of people. So they remember the details in a very fine details, meticulous way of looking at, and without any feelings. And then this is about isolation. Projection is a very common kind of defense that most of us use in general, more so by these personality disordered persons, where they actually attribute their own unacknowledged kind of feelings to others, excessive fault finding behavior, and highly sensitive to criticism. And splitting is one other way of defending themselves by categorizing people into good and bad kind of people. Passive aggression, as the name says, that these are the people who usually show their aggression towards themselves by hurting themselves and feeling guilty, that kind of passive aggression. And acting out is a behavior where their unconscious anxieties are acted out more in terms of tantrums, assaults, the childhood abuses, that all these are the result of this acting out defense. So this is very quickly in brief about the defenses. Probably we'll look at defenses as a separate topic at a later point of time. And then quickly coming to the management. So if you have understood the background of the different kinds of clusters and the characters that they show and how they are different from the normal personality, the treatment is focused mainly on these specific defenses that each personality disordered patient uses. I'll mention a couple of them. For a therapist or a counselor, working with a personality disordered patient itself is a very challenging kind of a task. It's not easy, and the medical benefits of this personality disorder are very limited because it's part of their nature. So, looking very quickly about people with a paranoid, like I mentioned in the cluster A, paranoid, for them to trust people is very difficult. So mainly working on their social skills using a set of role plays and social skills training is something we look at, provided the patient is at least willing to sensitize and are a little bit motivated to work on their social adjustment. Histrionic or borderline patients generally are the most difficult patients, not only for the family members, even for the therapist also. They pose a lot of challenge as to how much you are able to kind of accept them without pointing their mistakes. So generally they are very highly regressive. They become show their immature and very kind of regressed kind of behaviors in the therapy, and one needs to handle the skill of a therapist is very important here. So working through their defenses is something that is to be looked at when it comes to treatment. And antisocial kind of personality disorders generally need hospitalization because they are usually not very compliant. So the motivation is very less. So in order to get them into counseling, one need to admit them. Antisocial personalities and dependent personalities is one important kind of personalities, very cooperative and very responsive in therapy. They have high need for attachment. So assertive training and family therapy will be very helpful for them in order to help them. But the basic factor underlying all personality disorders is that so the family members need to be trained how to handle them, and then a set of environmental modification or environmental changes also are important. So like I said, in previous conditions, the younger the person approaches for treatment or brought for treatment, the better is their working through that. So mainly the focus of management in counseling will be individual psychotherapy, CBT, focusing on sensitization and helping them work through these defenses so that they are able to able to move on by learning a set of skills, how they can handle different social situations and stress management. So this is in brief about different personality conditions, personality disorders. So thank you.